The other controversial DSM category is paraphilias. Paraphilias are sexual feelings or behaviors that may include partners that are not human, not consenting, or that involve suffering by one or both parties. The term covers a wide array of sexual behaviors considered deviant by most people in society. A short list of examples found in the DSM-4 include voyeurism, exhibitionism, sexual sadism or masochism, fetishism, pedophilia, necrophilia, and zoophilia. These are the most common paraphilias, but there are dozens more that have been observed in people. Though women have been known to suffer from these conditions at times, the overwhelming majority of paraphiliacs are men. So why the controversy? Many people feel that there is too much emphasis on normative sexual behavior by the American Psychiatric Association. Given the extreme diversity in sexual behavior, who is to say what is normal? Here in Las Vegas, we have some businesses that certainly seem like they are catering to various paraphiliac desires. S&M enthusiasts balk at the association putting sexual sadism and masochism on the same list as pedophilia. They argue that if all of the adults involved in S&M activity are consenting and having fun, why should it be listed as a disorder? A lot of transgender advocacy groups resent the term gender identity disorder because they feel that it implies that there is something wrong with being transgender and that it undermines their acceptance in society. Frequently, they will cite the fact that until 1974, the American Psychiatric Association included homosexuality on the list of paraphilias, but today it is an accepted state of being by the medical community and much of society as well. There's also the belief that politics, rather than science, dictates too many of the American Psychiatric Association's policies, and this may be a valid point. Dr. Robert Spitzer, who was chair of the task force that put together the third edition of the DSM, was once quoted as saying, "The removal of the paraphilias from the DSM is not going to happen because it would be a public relations disaster for psychiatry." The controversy doesn't stop with paraphilias and gender identity disorder either. Some are questioning whether or not dysfunctions such as hypoactive sexual desire disorder really even exist. Those who identify as asexual in particular dislike this listing, because they feel that it implies that there is something wrong with people who have no desire for sex. To their credit, the American Psychiatric Association continues to make adjustments to their diagnostic and statistical manual as the field of sex research grows. These changes haven't always been easy, given that sex is such a hot-button issue in our society, and emotions can run very high regarding the topic. Still, most professionals are optimistic that improvements regarding diagnosis of paraphilias will be made in version 5 of the DSM. For now, though, the American Psychiatric Association continues to stress these 3 diagnostic requirements for the sexual disorders on its list. The first is that the condition must be causing the person distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. Basically, if you feel this condition is ruining your life, then yours is the opinion that matters. A value judgment on whether a condition is right or wrong doesn't matter as much as getting the patient back to a happy, healthy state of mind. The second requirement is that the condition may not be explained by any other physical or psychological problem. If you have a hormonal imbalance due to glandular problems, or if someone else is pressuring you into having sex that you don't want to have, then you're not really suffering from hypoactive sexual desire disorder. And the third requirement, with regards to paraphilias, is that sexual activity must be between consenting adults. Children cannot consent to sexual behavior. Neither can corpses, animals, or people in comas. However, an adult person can consent to watching, being watched, spankings, or being spanked. If all partners involved consent to these sort of activities, then the American Psychiatric Association does not consider it a disorder. When these criteria are applied properly, you can see that many of the kinks that some people enjoy are not really considered paraphilia disorders at all. Sex is something a lot of people have difficulty talking openly about, so when they experience a sexual dysfunction, many times they will pretend it is not happening and hope it goes away. And sometimes these problems will. Other times, though, our sexual health may be letting us know about problems we're having long before other symptoms appear. An orgasmic disorder might be an early indicator of depression, or erectile dysfunction may be a sign of heart disease. So if your problem is persistent, it's vitally important to talk to your doctor. Only a trained medical professional can determine the cause of your dysfunction and most effective form of treatment. And don't be embarrassed about it. There's nothing you could be suffering from that can be worse than some of the things that your doctor has seen.